Hi, I'm Real Deal MMA and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be breaking down all the fights, giving you the best predictions and analysis, so subscribe and like the videos. So this card, seen a lot of people look down their noses at it, say it's not particularly good from a entertainment value or a handicapping perspective. But I disagree. I think there's some fun fights on here. There's some fun fighters. We've got return of Korean Superboy. We got Tatsuro back. Iron Turtle's often in fun fights. And yeah, I like live betting. His fights particularly have done pretty well in. Derrick Lewis for the memes. Some good fights on here. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Real Deal MMA, and this is my breakdown, preview, and prediction of Tatsuro Taira versus Jesus Aguilar. So, Tatsuro is 12-0, Japanese undefeated prospect, fighting out of Okinawa, 5'7", 70-inch reach. If we look at Aguilar, Mexican, 8-1 record, and he is 5'4", with a 62.5 reach. So Tatsuro is going to have quite a big reach advantage here and the height advantage as well. So there's a lot of hype around Tatsuro Taira. He's very well rounded, and his odds are gigantic. But are they correct? Let's take a look. Tatsuro is just very, very well rounded. On the feet, pretty good boxing, fluid, flowing striking style, really nice head kicks, and they come at speed. His offensive boxing is good. His counters are pretty good. The only negative I could say on the feet is he can be tagged on the feet when he's backtracking. His defensive reactions are... His head movement is a bit slow, but where Taira really comes into his play is his grappling, his level changes, uses a variety of takedowns. He'll go for single legs, and he's very fluid. Within seconds, he's on the hips, he's got the back mount, he's got the takedown, and he's often in a proactive position after the takedown. He's really smooth to watch. Very calm and efficient. Definitely a major threat here with the submissions. If we look at Jesus Aguilar, he's 3 inches smaller, thick set, very muscly. His style throws wild, big overhands that fighters like Tatsuro will see a mile away and will counter. Very slow, plodding on the feet. Very little technique in his striking, swings wildly, doesn't check leg kicks, and that's something that Taira likes to throw and has been very effective with. If we look at him inside the pocket, he throws wild hooks, often twists his whole body around, and looks very clumsy and dangerous doing it. Again, very good for Tatsuro, who's pretty good in the pocket. And I'd expect him to have a lot of success here on the feet. I just think the speed difference is huge, as is the technique. So if we look at Tatsuro's stats here, what stands out is the 64% strike accuracy. Takedown defense 60%. Submission average 3.1. Striking defense 56%. Strikes landed per minute 3.25. So stats are good. Small sample size, but good stats. If we look at Aguilar, so again, very small sample size, but let's have a look at them anyway. Strikes landed per minute 2.1. Striking accuracy 46%. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Striking defense 66%. Takedown average 3.77. Takedown accuracy 37%. So how do I see this fight playing out? Well, no surprise. I think Tatsuro lights him up on the feet. I think he's got Aguilar covered everywhere in this fight. If he wants the takedowns, he'll get them. I think he'll get the control time. I think he could get the submission. So effective. On the feet, I think he's got him really covered as well. As I said, I think Aguilar is really slow. He's there to be countered. Just really lacking in technique. I think Tatsuro is levels above here. So my prediction here is Tatsuro Taira to win. I think he wins early. I think he gets the stoppage here. I think he catches Aguilar early on the feet. I think he catches him with the head kicks. I think he'll have success with the leg kicks. As I said, Aguilar doesn't check leg kicks. Tatsuro is just levels above here. Much faster fighter. Surgical in his striking against a guy who's very plodding in his striking. How does Aguilar win here? Maybe sneaky guillotine. I don't see it. I'm going for Tatsuro Taira to win. Could be knockout. More likely is the sub, but inside the distance, and I'm going to go round 1. So, from a handicapping perspective, not all the lines are out on this, but I do like Tatsuro inside the distance here. Some books have that about minus 140. I would wait, especially in the UK. They might get evens to that if you get boosted odds. I don't know. It'll probably be bet down. If I had to pick where that line was going. I think when people start to do the tape here, they'll realise. But would it shock me if Tatsuro went to decision here? Not really. It would shock me though if he did lose. So the next fight up is one that I'm looking forward to. It's Park Jeong Yeong versus Denis Tiuliulin. So I'm a fan of both these fighters. So it's a return of the Iron Turtle. So this is a good fight. Park is well-rounded. Good, okay, passable boxing. Mixes it well. Looks for the pressure. And when he does get the takedowns, his top side pressure is good. I would say that there are some red flags. He is hittable. The chin can be up in the air. But he is durable, as we've seen in a number of his fights. So, if we look at Denis Tiuliulin here, Denis Tiuliulin is very aggressive. Pressure style. I'd call it, hunter style. Hunts down his opponents. Very quick hands. Dangerous when he's very dangerous when his opponent is backtracking. So he looks to pressure them against the cage and then just unloads. Very dangerous in the pocket. Quick hands, as I've said. I wouldn't say he's got a great deal of technique, but he seems to have his technique when the fighter is hurt. He just seems to know what to do. He is a finisher, and he has a lot of finishes on his record. So Tiuliulin wants a brawl. He wants to engage in a brawl, and that's where he excels. The speed that he's demonstrated when his opponent is hurt, and he just is relentless in that situation. But out of range, he has a sort of a slappy style to an extent. He'll throw out leg kicks. It's more for the range, really. He's not doing it for for the stoppage, he's doing it for the range. So the opponent backs off, and then he'll come in with the right hand. He likes the right hand. There's got a lot of power in it. So this stylistically is going to be an interesting fight because Denis has got major flaws with his takedown defense and his grappling. Now this is where Iron Turtle has shown good fight IQ. He's grinded fights out when he's needed to. But there definitely is a scenario here where it does turn into a brawl. So that should be pretty interesting because we've seen Iron Turtle is durable. But in the pocket close range, if this does turn out to be a brawl, I'd have to fancy Denis. I think the speed that he's shown and the danger that he has in both hands, it's going to be very interesting. But I do think Iron Turtle will show the fight IQ here. He has more paths to victory, and I think he'll use them. But looking at the odds of the fight, I can't really back Iron Turtle here at these odds. They are a bit short. I think there is slight value on Denis here at plus 170. Minus 200 for Iron Turtle is a bit wide. That's 66% implied. But I can see why Park is the favourite here. So looking at the props here, we've got the method of victory and the under-over props priced at the moment. And it's priced spot on. This is how I would price it. So I don't see any value there at all. I would look to live bet this. As I said, I've done quite well live betting Iron Turtle before. I think he probably does lose the first round here. Denis will come out very aggressive, will be high volume, and he might even hurt him on the feet here. But being how Iron Turtle is very durable and the fight IQ, I expect him to do quite well at the end of the round. So you should get better odds than minus 200. But that's an if. That's a big if. We can't predict these things. It's live betting. We can only go by what we see and then make a move as to the markets. The next fight is an all-Korean affair between Hyun Sung Park and Seong Choi. Park is a minus 200 favourite. Choi is around a plus 170 to a plus. I think there is a plus 200 out there. So, Sung Park is undefeated, the minus 200 favourite. He's 27, 5'7" with a 66-inch reach. Choi is 6'1", 26 years old, 5'6", so slightly shorter, and a reach of 64. Again, shorter reach. So Choi is the dog here. Park is very well rounded. What I really like about Park is his calf kicks. He utilises them very well in fights. They're very precise. They come at speed and they have power. We've seen quite a few times that giving his opponent issues, and I expect it to be used in his advantage in this fight as well, dictating the pace of the fight. So almost sort of, dare I say it, Dominic Cruz style. He's, as I said, he's downloading. He's looking when to counter. And when the fight is at his pace, slightly slower, where he can fight in bursts, use those multi combos, leg kicks with the right left, then he looks very efficient. Park has good cage control, and he often uses some nice trips to get the fight to the ground, where he's got quite a lot of skills actually. He's definitely a threat. As I said, very well-rounded fighter. We did see Park's durability tested when he was dropped very heavily against Quiram, who is a legit multi-striker with power. Very much a one-trick pony is Quiram. And yeah, he got a brutal knockdown of Park there. But Park did recover really well and showed some really good fight IQ as well. So where I think Guk Choi will have an advantage here is the power. And he moves at a much faster pace than Sung Park. Guk Choi often uses his right hand as a tester. He leaves it out. It's a fake. But I would say it's a bad habit that could be countered, especially with someone with the movement of Sung Park. So I do think that the power advantage that Guk Choi has here makes this a very interesting fight. I don't agree with the odds. It's a fairly small sample size that we have on both. And on the grappling, it's going to be interesting how that plays out. But I do think that this will play out on the feet. And this is the fight that I think we will probably likely see round 3. But it really does depend, because I definitely see a scenario where Guk Choi is losing the round, struggling with those calf kicks. Park's getting ahead, and then Choi tags him, drops him, like we saw Quiram do. And Guk Choi does have that power to change this fight. So at plus 170, I think there's some value here at Guk Choi, and I'm very tempted to place a bet here. So my prediction on this fight is I'm picking the underdog, Guk Choi. I think the power will be the difference here. I think he will hurt Park on the feet at some stage. As I said, could be losing the round, could be getting those calf kicks and taking damage. But in the pocket, I think he tags him. I think he hurts him. I think there is a possible scenario where Guk Choi gets to finish here, but I think it will be a close decision win for Guk Choi. So my prediction is Guk Choi wins, and I'm very tempted by this betting line, as I don't think he should be plus 170. I think this should be very much a pick'em. So yeah, Guk Choi to win here. The next fight we have Toshiomi Kazama versus Rinya Nakamura. So Rinya Nakamura is 6-0, undefeated, and Kazama has 10 wins and 2 losses. Rinya Nakamura is the big favourite here. Quite a huge favourite actually, minus 500. And those odds of minus 500 are probably warranted here. Nakamura is legit. He's got him covered everywhere. And I think he probably does get the ICD here inside the distance. I don't want to waste too much time on this breakdown. It's a minus 500. I don't think you should be putting Nakamura in your parlays. But maybe look for the Nakamura inside the distance prop when it comes out. So final prediction is Nakamura to win inside the distance. And I think he wins fairly comfortably here. Probably first or second round. So next up we have a China-Korea matchup. This is another tongue twister for pronouncing these names. This card is it's a name that a lot of people are going to be, a card that people are going to be butchering these names. So we've got Zha Yi, who knows if I pronounced that right, from China, versus Jeong Lee from Korea. So if we look at these records, Lee from Korea is 9-1, and Zha Yi is 21-3. So the Korean Lee is the favourite here. And Lee's odds are around minus 250. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I have to say I didn't get a great read from it, but I think Lee probably does get the job done inside the distance. Minus 250. I've heard some people say that's wide, but I'm not so sure. From a betting perspective on this fight, again, I have to admit I don't have a great read on this fight. I would say, though, we're going to see some violence, and I don't think we see the scorecards here. So if you are to bet on it, I would probably take Jeong Lee inside the distance, and that's my prediction on this fight. Next up, we have India's Anshul Jubli versus Jeka Saragih. So hopefully I've not butchered those names too badly. But this is a really interesting fight. I enjoyed doing the tape study of this. The odds on this fight are actually close to a pick'em, so that makes it interesting as well. These are the odds that you really want to be looking into when you see a fight, to see, if there is some value here. Should this fight really be priced at a pick'em? So I was looking at Tapology. I often ignore Tapology, but their voting on this fight made me laugh. They've got 80% in favour of Indians and Anshul Jubli here, which really shows that there is a big market in India for MMA, and this guy has got quite a bit of fans, because there wouldn't really be any reason why would 80% of people be picking the guy here, because on tape he's certainly not 80% implied, not in the odds anyway. This is a pick'em, so that was interesting. That might be something, just a tiny little factor there, if this did go to the scorecards, that it'd be better for the UFC if Anshul did win, because like I say, India's a big market. So if we look at this from a stylistic point of view and look at the tail of the tape, we've got Jeka is 28, Anshul is also 28, Jeka is 5'7", Anshul is 6 foot here. Weight, obviously the same. Reach, 69 and 69. So we've got a height advantage here for Anshul, but I don't think the height will make much difference here at all. So this is quite a clash of styles, the way both these guys strike. Jeka is so explosive. He covers ground so quickly, and he throws everything into his shots, and they come at with power and speed. Now Jubli is a lot more patient. He likes to slow the fight down, dictate where it goes, and when he's in his rhythm, he becomes much more technical. He has quite a number of skills in his arsenal with his boxing and his fakes. Some quite high level striking when he gets in his rhythm. But there are some red flags. He can be quite slow in the pocket. His head movement is quite slow, and he really does need to have a lot of success for the fight to be slower. Now he's fighting a guy that is just an absolute nutcase in many ways, that will come out like a ball in a china shop. He'll be super aggressive. He'll cover space very, very quickly. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he deals with Jeka. So when Jeka is defending, he's quite unorthodox. He's got quite a strange little jig that he does when he's on the back foot. It almost looks like a dance, but that makes him difficult to read, and I think that's going to be in his advantage here. you really do have to get him against the cage and pick him off. And he doesn't give many people the space to do that. I just don't think Jubli is going to be able to have success here in picking him off. He's just not going to get the time to do it, especially if he starts off quite slow and patient. Again, I just don't think we see much grappling here. I don't think Jubli will have that much success. He might look for takedowns. He might try and get Jeka against the cage. But I think he'll be quite confident on the feet. And that will be his undoing, I think, here. I think he, as I said, I think he gets destroyed in the pocket. But the interesting thing about this fight is if we do go over 1.5, the cardio for Jeka, I think there's some red flags there that maybe Jubli doesn't have. I don't think he has as bad cardio as Jeka. So if this fight does go late and he does find his rhythm, then it could be pretty interesting. I mean, especially if he does look for takedowns and he gets them. But I don't see it. I think this fight, as I said, I think it's mainly fought out on the feet. And I think Jeka hurts Jubli and hurts him early and gets the finish. So as far as betting goes, again, very, very tempted by Jeka here at plus money. And it's a bet that I'm probably going to make. So my prediction is Jeka Saragih to win inside the distance. And I think it does go under 1.5 here. Next fight up is Yasuku Kinoshita versus Adam Fugitt. So this is an interesting fight. Kinoshita is 6-1. He's from Japan. He's only 22. He has a 60-inch reach. Sorry, he has a 71.5 reach, and he's 6 foot tall. Fugitt is 8-3. He's from America. He's 34 years old, so there's a big difference there between the ages. That's 12 years. And as we know in MMA, if you know your stats about age, then it's something like 68% or 70% of the time the younger man wins when there's over 10 years in age. I have to check that on Bet MMA, but yeah, that's an interesting stat to take in consideration when you're placing bets. So no surprise, I like Kinoshita here. He was actually minus 250. He's been bet down to minus 300 now. But his current line, I mean, if you like your parlays, I think he's one of the better chalk to put as a leg in your parlay. If you're doing a double parlay and you need someone, I think Kinoshita is not a bad parlay piece. His odds might even, people will watch tape and realise that that's the case, and his odds will probably take more action. As far as his style goes, yeah, he's super aggressive, isn't he? Quite a controversial character. Fun fighter, and I think he's going to be very much fun to watch in the future. So my prediction here is Kinoshita. I think he gets it done quite early, inside the distance, probably round 1, round 2. So that might also be a prop to look at, his KO, TKO prop. I don't think that's been priced yet, but that might be something to look at. But again, the money line, it's not too bad as far as chalk goes. So yeah, Kinoshita wins and wins in style. So next up, we've got the long-awaited return of the Korean Superboy, and he is going to be fighting Canadians' very own Carl Nelson. So, Choi has 14 wins and 4 losses. Nelson has 13 wins and 5 losses. They are both 31 years old. And if you look at the betting odds here, Korean Superboy is a minus 200 favourite. And Carl Nelson, I think there is a line out there that's plus 180. So, let's talk about some of the red flags. And there are a lot of red flags why you shouldn't be betting this fight. So let's look at Choi first of all. So he's been away from the game for 3 years. That's a major red flag. He's also on a losing streak here. And he hasn't won since 2016. So we know that he's been out for a while. But he's also on a losing streak. And he's been beaten, as we know, by stoppage quite badly. So, if we look at Carl Nelson, in my opinion, hasn't looked good at all. Even as a minus 200, Superboy should be winning this fight. But there are much better bets on this card. And you shouldn't be adding Superboy as a minus 200 to your parlays with all these red flags. But even with the line, and it is wide, plus 180, Carl Nelson, I can't bring myself to bet Carl Nelson here. Even with the multiple red flags on Korean Superboy, I don't want to be placing any money on Nelson here. How do I think this fight will go? I think we do see Korean Superboy get the victory here. I think it's probably going to likely be decision. But again, it's not something that I would bet, and I don't think anyone should be placing money on Superboy at these odds here. Seen a fair few people on Nelson. They like the dog money. Not for me. But my final prediction here is Korean Superboy gets the victory. His striking will be too much, and he gets a clear decision win. So next up, not in the order of the card, this fight passed me by. I have absolutely no interest in this fight from a watching or a betting perspective, but we're going to talk about it anyway. This fight is Ji Young Kim versus Mandy Bohm, or as some have quite rudely said, Mandy Bum. So, Ji Young Kim, she's on a losing streak at the moment. She's 9-6-2. Mandy Bohm is 7-2. So, if we look at the odds here, got Mandy Bohm you can get her for a plus 240, and Jeong Kim is around a minus 300. Now the problem with Jeong Kim is a lot of her fights can be close. She has a habit of making fights closer than they should be. So a minus 300, even against someone like Mandy Bohm, who I really don't rate. There is scope for Mandy Bohm to improve. We could see an improvement here. There were people who quite hilariously highly rated her and were hyping her up. I saw that on Reddit and on Twitter. Thought that was bizarre. I don't know what tape they're watching. But hey ho, that's why there's an edge in this game. But yeah, Jeong Kim, minus 300. I think this fight could possibly be very close. And yeah, it could be a split decision. I think it goes to decision. I'm picking Jeong Kim. I think she'll do enough here. As I say, I really don't like Mandy Bohm. And yeah, this is not a fight that's interests me at all. So my prediction here is Jeong Kim gets the win, and by a close decision. So next up, back to the main card, we have Marcin Tybura versus Blagoy Ivanov. So this is a interesting fight. I don't think it's the most entertaining fight. Blagoy Ivanov is really not particularly in entertaining fights. I mean, people like him because his chin is so good. He's durable. He can take one hell of a beating. Tybura, coming off a big victory, So let's look at his record. Tybura is 23-7, and Blagoy Ivanov is 19-4. They're both around the same age, 36, 37, so Tybura is 1 year older. Tybura has is 6'3", Blagoy is 5'11", and Tybura has a 78-inch reach, and Blagoy 73. So he's got the height and reach advantage. On the feet, I think it'll be fairly even. Yeah, Blagoy normally does enough. His boxing's not too bad. There's nothing exciting about what Blagoy does. Tybura, I think he's got more skills to his bow on the feet. But again, I think this will be a fight fought against the cage for long periods of time. I think Tybura will get the takedown, and I think he'll cruise to decision here. I mean, the money line is interesting. I actually expected Marcin Tybura to be a bit wider. I thought he'd be -200. So I am tempted by Tybura here. So Tybura is not someone that I tend to bet. I haven't bet him for a while, but I think this is a good spot for him. So my prediction is Marcin Tybura wins. I think he wins by decision. There's absolutely no value on the over and under. I think it's been priced correctly. If I had to bet, I'd probably bet on the under, but I think it probably does go over. And if I do make a bet on this, it would be Marcin Tybura by decision. And that's my prediction. So next up, we've got Jeong Yeong versus Devin Clark. If we quickly look at their records, Jeong Yeong is 13-3-1. Devin Clark is 13-7-0. So Jeong Yeong is 29 years old. Devin Clark a little bit older, 32. The Korean has the height advantage here. He's 6'4". Devin Clark is 6 foot. He also has the reach advantage. He's got a 78.5 reach against a 75 reach. So let's have a look at the Tapology votes just out of curiosity. And they've got Jung as a 90%. And they're picking KO there. So, I mean, I tend to agree with that. I think Jung, this is a good fight for him. I think he does have potential at 29. More scope. Yeah, he's got some good victories. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's better than Devin Clark. So, I mean, I understand these odds. It's not a bad parlay piece. Or you could just bet it straight. I've got Jung to win. I think he gets inside the distance as well. Again, that might be an interesting prop. I'm just going to have a quick look at that to see if that is around yet. So we've got Jung inside the distance, plus 130. That's interesting. That might be a bet here. The over 2.5 is plus 105. The under 2.5 rounds is about minus 120. Yeah, it's that's interesting as well. Yeah, so there could quite a few bets on this actually that are fairly interesting. Again, I think Jeong Yeong is a much better fighter. I think this fight will be on the feet. He'll have his success with the boxing. He's got more technique. I think he'll get the stoppage here. I'm picking Jeong Yeong to win by stoppage. I think probably round 2. And the main event, we got the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis. Absolutely love Derrick Lewis's fights. And he's fighting Sergey Spivak. So, if we have a quick look at their stats here, We got Derrick Lewis is 26-10. Zha Yi Spivak is 15-3. So Lewis is 37. Spivak is 28. That's interesting. I always thought he was a little bit older than 28. Seems like he's been around ages. So they're both 6'3", and the reach is very similar. Derrick Lewis actually has a slight reach advantage. So if we have a look at topology here, I actually expected them to pick Lewis because that's, a lot of casuals absolutely love Lewis. But 60% are picking Spivak and 40% are picking Lewis. And they're all picking mainly by knockout, KO. So everyone is expecting a finish here. I think a lot of people are expecting this to go under as well. I'm not so sure about that. If we have a look at the odds here for the over-under. So we've got over 1.5 is priced at evens, plus 100. Under 1.5 is minus 120, but that's only early. That's one book. Well, we've actually got two books, but yeah, so that might be something to look at here. So I have to admit, I am a bit of a Derrick Lewis fanboy, and it really amuses me when people always go against him, and he gets that KO, he gets that stoppage, and they lose their parlays and they scratch their head as to why. Spivak minus 225. I understand. I mean, I think Spivak will get the takedowns here and probably work one on Lewis. But if he doesn't, Spivak has got a chin on him. So stylistically, this does really favour Spivak. But I can't help but think that, if you underestimate Lewis, God help you. Lewis hits like an absolute truck, and I think he could catch Spivak here with a hook, with the uppercut, and if he does, I think he'll probably finish him. It's not a fight that I'm going to be betting on money line, but I'm interested in that over actually. There's always risk betting on an over in a heavyweight fight like this, but it's something that I'm pretty good at, picking what fights will go over, and I wouldn't be surprised if this does go over the 1.5. And I'm actually going to go for the Black Beast win. Yeah, I know. But Black Beast to win here. I think he does get the stoppage. I think he gets that big uppercut. And Derrick Lewis to win. As I say, some bias there. I'm a bit of a Derrick Lewis fanboy. So, yeah, Derrick Lewis to win a game. Let's go. So that concludes the card. I hope you enjoy it. I think it's a good card. Looking forward to a lot of fights on that card. So I'm Real Deal MMA. So if you could please subscribe and like. YouTube algorithms haven't been kind to me so far. So yeah, a lot more to come. Going to be breaking down a lot of fights, giving you best predictions and giving you bets as well. So yeah, subscribe and like, and follow me on Twitter also. Yeah, my Twitter account is Real Deal MMA I. So yeah, hopefully I'll be adding more things on my Twitter. But there's definitely going to be a lot on my YouTube channel. I intend to break down all the cards and even the obscure MMA cards. I'm looking to. I'm always taping. I do this full time, so I'll be taping everything. Also going to be bringing you some boxing as well. Well into my boxing. Got a really nice breakdown of Tatsuro Taylor coming up, which I think is going to be really good. So watch out for that. So, yep, subscribe to my channel and get the my latest vids. Good luck on your bets.